Hello people, this is Intact Vegan. In this presentation, I will tell you about how to create effective mnemonics. First, I'll share tips for creating effective mnemonics. Then I'll share my process and a few examples. As you probably already know, a mnemonic is a memory device. Using a mnemonic, you can memorize a small amount of information that's associated with a larger piece of information that's more difficult to memorize. For example, the order of operations is parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction. But that string of words can be difficult to memorize as is. Many people use the acronym PEMDAS to remember it. Acronyms are just one type of mnemonic. Some mnemonics don't need to be written down. For example, you can use physical movements or music as mnemonic devices. For this presentation, I'll only focus on mnemonics that can be written and put into a PowerPoint. Like many people, I have a lot of information I need to memorize and not enough time or storage space for it. Luckily, you don't need naturally good memory to remember a lot of stuff. You just need an effective method. After you already have a good understanding of what you need to memorize, it's time to start thinking of mnemonics. I have two rules for making mnemonics. Number 1, make it memorable. Number 2, make it informative. So, how can we make a mnemonic more memorable? First off, it should be simple. The whole point of the mnemonic is to make something easy to remember. So keep it simple. Use words you can easily understand. Another thing that helps make a mnemonic memorable is images. People remember images. Images can be a photo, a cartoon, but it can also be images in your head. Rhymes or other wordplay are memorable. Use similarities between words like homophones to make connections. Finally, the most memorable mnemonics are interesting. Make it funny, ridiculous, maybe sexual. Many popular mnemonics for health sciences are sex-related because sex is memorable. Well, usually. So those are some tips for making mnemonics memorable. Keep Siri, simple, images, rhymes, interesting in mind when using mnemonics. It's not always possible to do it all, but try to at least keep it simple and use images. Let's move on to looking at my second rule. Make informative. To make a mnemonic informative, make the content informative. Put as much meaning into the mnemonic as possible without sacrificing memorability. Find a balance between keeping it simple and putting as much information as possible. Next is presentation. Formatting can help make a mnemonic more informative. You want the most important parts to stand out. Also, formatting can indicate which parts are related. Related elements might be the same color, or related words might have the same font style. Okay, so memorable and informative are the key to effective mnemonics. To make it memorable, think Siri, simple, images, rhymes, interesting. For informative, think content and presentation. That's all abstract though. Let me give you an example. To remember the prefixes used in the International System of Units, SI, abbreviated from French, I came up with this sentence. My kitten hates Dad because Dad can't meow, mew, nor purr. It's memorable to me for its simplicity and the image. The sentence is simple, it makes sense. I included an image here on the slide, but the image is also in my head. I can imagine my kitten hating on Dad because of his inability to communicate in the same way. Being able to see the image helps me remember the sentence. The mnemonic is also informative. I've seen other mnemonics for SI unit prefixes, but they usually only go from kilo to milli. Also, the Greek letter mu is a prefix for micro, and it's a homophone for the word mu in my sentence. The way this table is laid out and the red letters helps make it clear that the mega and M and my go together, and kilo, K, and kitten go together, and so on. There's my first example of a mnemonic. Time to go through the process together. Using mnemonics. First, determine exactly what you need to memorize. Is it just a word and definition? An ordered list? Something else? Then make sure you understand the content before you try to memorize it. This is important. Understand, then memorize. It'll make things easier. The mnemonic is a memory device, not a substitute for understanding. If you don't understand the information you're memorizing, you will probably be unable to use the information or recognize it outside of the context of your mnemonic. Okay, flowchart time. Once I know and understand what I need to memorize, I go online. Is there already a decent mnemonic? If I find one that's okay, I use it. If there's no decent mnemonic, the next question is, does a salvageable mnemonic exist? I may try to improve a so-so mnemonic by making it more memorable or informative. For example, an existing mnemonic may include words that aren't needed for the mnemonic, so I can make a new version without irrelevant words. Sometimes there are no existing mnemonics, or the ones that exist are beyond saving. Then I just need to start from scratch. Let's go through the process of making my own mnemonic. So let's say I want to learn a specific vocabulary word. For words and definitions, I often use images and a memorable phrase. I especially like rhymes or half rhymes and bilingual plays on words. If possible, I include the meaning of the word in the mnemonic. For this example, I made a mnemonic for the word impasse, which means a situation with no escape. I was thinking, could I make a rhyme or half rhyme for impasse? I noticed impasse sounds like him pass, and I thought, oh, I could relate him pass to being unable to escape. I came up with the sentence, I'd let him pass, but it's a situation with no escape. So I was able to include the word and the meaning of the word and make them red to highlight and link them. I also added a relevant image. That was my process for making a mnemonic for a vocabulary word, along with an example. Let's move on to another example. This time, instead of a vocabulary word, I want to make a mnemonic for memorizing a group of words. For lists, I often use acronyms. I first list the terms I want to memorize. Then I check online word sites, such as yougowords.com, to look up the words I want by the part of speech, first letter, length, or other attributes. As usual, I'm trying to make a memorable and informative mnemonic. For my example, I wanted to memorize this set of nonmetals that can form compounds with 10 or 12 valence electrons. As you can see, I put the symbol for each in red within the word. I just needed to remember the symbols to remember the elements. Here's my mnemonic. Using words that start with a symbol for each element, I made the sentence, some clever idiots break protocol. It's a simple, memorable sentence, and the content relates to what I'm memorizing. These nonmetals, sulfur, chlorine, iodine, bromine, phosphorus, are breaking protocol by forming compounds with 10 or 12 valence electrons, unlike other nonmetals. Let's quickly recap. Before you make the mnemonic, understand what you're memorizing. Try to use or update existing mnemonics if you can. If you need to make your own mnemonic, remember to make it memorable. Think Siri, simple, images, rhymes, interesting. Make it informative, both in content and presentation. I just shared a few types of mnemonics, but there's so many other methods. I'm a fan of rhyming peg word system too, but it's too much to go into right now. Anyways, experiment. Don't get stressed if you can't find the perfectly grammatical or logical mnemonic. The mnemonic just needs to make sense to you. If it works for you, then you've accomplished your goal. I hope you found my video useful. Thank you for watching.